Good evening, everyone, and welcome to the Invictus Racing League, the Performance League. I am one of two commentators for tonight, Malc. With me, as always, is Tim. How you doing, mate? You alright?
How you doing, Malc? It's looking like we're going to have a decent field here today for the Invictus Racing League, Performance League, Russian Grand Prix, and it's the final time of the season that we get to witness a full qualifying session, or 3 full qualifying sessions, rather.
Absolutely, and are you going to miss the full qualifying scenario?
That is honestly a tough question there, Malc, because on one hand, I do like the full qualifying scenario because it gives you a little bit more action during qualifying, but at the same time, I kind of prefer the one-shot qualifying myself just because it takes less time and you get in with the race a lot sooner. And I'm always for just getting on with that race and seeing how it plays out instead of just watching 3 sessions of qualifying. I am curious, though, to see how the drivers have reacted to the full qualifying over the season now that they've had almost a full season to kind of let it soak in and think about how they feel about it.
Yeah, I mean, it's brought a lot of shocks and it's brought a lot of excitement and also everything to play for, and with all the drivers that you did not expect to see, and to get a podium here and there, here and everywhere as well, and it was just absolutely immense stuff. But like I said, good evening to everyone that's joined the session. We're about to start the full qualifying of the Russian Grand Prix, but just a reminder for a bit of stats as well. This is the 123rd, you heard me right, Tim, 123rd Performance League race here tonight. So, like I said, with Nitrogash, if he is there, I think he is, yes he is. So, Nitrogash, he's on 110 Performance League star tonight. That is really impressive stuff. And he's 1 away from Spud's record of 111, so that will definitely going to hit the record either way. But from the Russian Grand Prix, do you prefer this track?
Honestly, with Sochi, it's one of those tracks that, to me, I think I'm going to run really bad at, and I'm always dreading it when it's coming up in my career mode. But yet I get there, and then I actually can run fairly decent. I don't know what it is about the track that makes me think that I hate it when I actually don't. There are a few corners that it's very difficult to not go wide in, so you're going to get a time penalty there for disobeying track limits. But otherwise, it's actually a very nice track, and I like to watch it. I like to drive around it, even if I kind of dread it when it comes up, because it's just an intimidating track to me for some reason, and I don't know why. Maybe it's just because it's so narrow, and you don't really have a lot of runoff areas. It's more just a lot of walls around you, so you can't afford to make a mistake like you could at other places with very wide runoff areas.
Absolutely. And with this, at this track, you do not want to make any silly mistakes. And we have seen a few occasions where some of the drivers would hit the walls as badly as possible. But to be fair though, Tim, you need to get a good start, especially when you got that run down at turn 1 at the race start as well. But I cannot wait for this, because obviously with Q1, Q2 and the full qualifying for Q3, everything all to play for as well. So we've got Sab, Jamie, O'Steven, Cryptox, Volcanus Prime, Nitrogash, Scott, Lewis, the Hailstone, Rymac, Royboy, Scope, Moreno, Matty and Harry are the drivers for tonight. So with Q1, what do you think is going to happen, Tim?
Well, with Q1, I think that we're going to get an idea of what lap times we're going to be seeing when it gets down to Q3. Of course, there's going to be some drivers eliminated from this session and subsequently the next session in Q2 as well. But this is just going to be a session for drivers to get a baseline of how quickly they really are around this track today. Now, of course, some of them are not going to have to worry about anything at all. There is, of course, going to be a fastest driver in this session. He will theoretically be locked into the next round of qualifying after we go out and set a few laps. He can always lose his position if someone goes faster, but usually you're sitting pretty if you've gotten somewhere up around the top of the board. Now, if you're hanging out around, 14th or 15th, and just outside the top 10, you're at a real risk of being eliminated from this session. So while some drivers can use this session as a practice to just gauge their speed, others are going to have to use it as a practice to get faster, lest they just start way at the back of the pack. So what's going to happen here is we're just going to see a lot of drivers, well, for lack of better words, practice, but also just go out there and try to see what they got. I wouldn't even be surprised if we saw a mix of tire strategies just to test pace.
Yeah, as you mentioned about the tyre strategies, obviously the best strategy around here is the soft mediums. I mean, you could do soft hards, but obviously at the Russia track, it's at the Sochi track, there's not much difference. Obviously, if you want to get a little bit quicker, obviously the soft mediums is the way forward. I've seen someone yesterday in the F4 race where they did the medium softs from outside of the top 10, and they've got themselves, I think it was Milam in the McLaren yesterday. He did driven a magnificent race and got a podium out of it. So I wouldn't be surprised, from my point of view, if we see a couple of different strategies, but I will not be surprised if majority of the drivers have gone for, obviously for the soft to be the quicker, but it will all depend on who will produce the good lap on the day of the Sochi track. That's the main question of it all. And with this, we're just watching Rimac now doing his qualifying lap in the Haas car as well. What have you been so far with Rimac's performances this season, Tim?
Honestly, I expected a little bit more out of Rimac this season, and he's had some decent runs, don't get me wrong. I just expected him to be, a little bit more of a contender for the championship than maybe what he has been, and honestly, I expected to see a lot more wins from him. So, Rimac has not had the season that maybe I thought he would have, but so far, I mean, he's not had a horrible season, so it's not like it's just an awful season that he needs to forget about. In fact, as I turn my attention to the point standings, we can see that Rimac is actually all the way down in 10th place. He has missed a lot of races. In fact, he missed the first 4 races of the season, so that would explain a points gap. And otherwise, he only has 2 podiums, which is a 3rd in Canada and a 3rd in Hungary as well. So I definitely expected more wins from Rimac, but with him missing the first 4 races, that would put him in a severe disadvantage as far as chances to go out there and get a win. But again, I just reiterate that I am very surprised to see him fall back, but that's not really been an uncommon trait of our champions and our winners, our fast drivers this season, because Samu, who is no longer racing with us in this series, he was the champion last season, and then we expected him to set the world on fire in the Performance League this season and just absolutely dominate and maybe even become the next Mr. Sky Z with, going back-to-back championships. However, that did not play out. I don't think Samu even got a win this year, and then he decided to step away from the Performance League. So it's just because you were fast last season doesn't mean you're going to be fast this season, and we are seeing that now more than ever.
Absolutely. Just a bit of a recap of the standings. I do apologise for you, Tim. It was, I think Rimac joined on Abu Dhabi. At that point, he didn't technically miss 4 races. He just actually joined from Abu Dhabi, so I do apologise for that mistake as well. So, obviously with Rimac, he has, don't get me wrong, Tim, he has got 2 podiums this season, and he's just doing a 1 minute 33.4. So I wouldn't write him off completely in this race, but it all depends if he can try and push on as well. And Moreno did a 132.9, and Volcanus Prime has just done a 132.4 in the Racing Point car. So that's a crack of a time from Volcanus Prime as well. So who are you watching so far, Tim?
Taking a look at Cryptox, he is the first driver out on track, and so far the only driver on track who has decided to go for the medium tires. He's in Sector 3, just one final corner to go before he crosses the line. Let's see where he ends up. He ended up in 5th, a 135.078 for the McLaren, so that goes to show the difference between the soft tires and the medium tires. So definitely not the qualifying that Cryptox was wanting, but like I said, he's probably just testing his pace right now on the medium tires because, you know, for those of you watching who may not know, the tires that you set your qualifying lap on in Q2, which is the next session coming up, is going to be the tire that you start the race on. So you can qualify on any tire in Q1 and Q3 and be fine, but whatever tire that you qualify on in Q2 is the one that you start the race on. So if Cryptox were to qualify on the medium tire in the next session, he would start the race on the medium tire. So that's probably why he's wanting to test his pace on the tire now to see if it is possible to go with that reverse strategy instead of going to soft mediums.
It could be a possibility for Cryptox. Don't get me wrong, he is quick on his day. But with the situation that he has got, even if he did get into the top 10, I'll be very surprised in the mediums as well. And, oh! Sab! Sab's done a 132.3! What a time! What a time there from Sab! Brilliant stuff there. And you got the Hailstone done a 132.5. I'm just looking at, well, Scott Bowman has done a validated lap. That's a, where did that come from Sab? He has lightened his car from the Malc as well, back up to in the Russian Grand Prix. We're just watching Lewis now doing his time. He's in the second sector at the moment, and he's coming up to the DRS straight. Let's see what he can try and do on the second sector. I want to see what time, if he could do. If he could try and get one of those perfect moment times, that'll be immense stuff. And he's purple. He is purple on second sector. So let's see. The third sector is a little bit tricky, I always think, because obviously under the bridge you have to go left-hander, and you feel, you see that there from Lewis. He lost the back end of that car. And you can tell he's trying to really push that car to the limit as well. And he's coming up to the final bit now of his time. And he did a 131.3, 1 second quicker than Sab.
That is an impressive time from Lewis there in that Renault. And honestly, I figured that he was going for a pole lap because he was quickest in the first sector. Then he was quickest in the second sector. Then in the third sector, he almost spun, like you said, and then I thought, okay, well, that's it. He might get a good lap, but he's not going to get the pole because he's already scrubbed off too much speed. Apparently he didn't. Apparently he was able to hold on to it just enough to keep his pace, to keep his momentum through the corner. And as you see, a 131.3 for Lewis, a very impressive time. Going to turn my attention now to Scope Filter. He is currently in the Alpha Tauri, and he is on his flying lap. Looks like he is in the third sector, but his lap is invalidated, so he's going to have to try it one more time. Looks like Roy Boy has already set a lap, was going to take a look at him, but he's already completed the lap. That is a 133.1 for Roy Boy in the 9th position there. So let's take a look now at YNWA Matty. He's in the 14th position, however, with no lap time. We'll see just in a moment how he can stack up to the rest of the field. Currently, though, as I said, on his outlap, looks like he is going through Sector 3 now, or entering Sector 3, rather. So here in just a few moments' time, we will see. And he invalidates his outlap, so we can switch back to Scope Filter. Looks like he's going to try for another lap. He is purple in the first sector. So going through the second sector now, let's see if Scope Filter is quick through there. And remember, Scope Filter, if he were to win today, let me pull up the stats here, but if he were to win today, I do believe that he would be tied for first in all-time wins in the Performance League.
Correct. It currently sits on 7 Performance League wins, equal top with Delange and Yoss. A win tonight would break the record. That will be absolutely amazing for Scope. But bear in mind, he has not had a podium this season since the first race of the season, which was back at France. So the Drivers' Championship runner-up from last season has not had a podium since the first race of the season. If it wants to top off to win here tonight, that would be... it would be ecstatic. It would be absolutely delightful for him, and to break records would be delightful for him. Just seeing what. Let's have a look at Matty, as you mentioned earlier on, Tim. So he's coming up to the first sector. He's going that tricky left-hander. Well, the car can stick on the left-hander, and he's going through the tricky right-hander. You could easily get a penalty on the left-hand side as well. It's done a 33.3. It's not purple on first sector, but it could be pressure point moment as well, because this will be the way where, looking at those times there, those times look absolutely close. And what do you think, looking at those times now, Tim, what do you think the time will be the cut-off point for Q1?
The cutoff point for Q1 will probably be about a 132.9, 133.1, somewhere around there, I would imagine, because I'm not exactly sure how many drivers we're going to cut out of this session, but I feel like it'll probably be the final four, the lowest four qualifying positioners. So far, what I'm looking at now, it'd probably be about a 133.1 to 132.9 as the cutoff time. But we'll have to wait and see. We got just over 6 minutes until we find out, as Matty completes his lap. No invalidation that time as he crosses the line. P11, a 133.097. And, of course, Scopefielder went second fastest that last time, but has now been demoted to third fastest because Vulcanus Prime went second fastest with a 131.623.
That's a beautiful lap there from Volcano's Prime. Just watching Scott Bugner now on the third sector to see what time one of the cars is just drifting back into the pits by the looks of things at the background. So let's see how Scott can try and go through the last bit of the sector. A 133.4, not good enough at the moment, and could be the pressure to try and survive Q1. And for the first time this season, we are going to try out whoever gets eliminated in Q1 or Q2. We'll invite one of those drivers into the party to hear their thoughts of where they have gone wrong with their times or where they could have improved. But either way, we will get them in. Well, we're only going to get one driver in for Q1 and one driver for Q2. So we're just watching to see how Cryptox can improve. Actually, Tim, who are you watching so far?
Well, I was watching Cryptox to see how he can improve, but he's already set a lap in 133.2, so not much of an improvement really on Cryptox's time. However, we can go up and take a look at Vienna. He's currently in the 8th position with a 132.736, on his lap time in that Williams. But he's going to try to improve on it this time. He's on his flying lap, so we'll see if he can get any better of a lap, but he is under power at the moment, so I don't think it's going to happen this time around. Not sure why he's under power, but he's just not really giving it his all on this lap, so not sure what's going on with Vienna. This is not going to be an improvement on his time. Oh, Steven pulling into the pits after he set a 5th fastest time of a 132.504. It looks like we got the McLaren behind him. That's either Moreno or Cryptox. That is Cryptox pulling into the pits as Moreno is still out on track. He is using this as a full-blown practice session. Moreno is. He's out there in 11th place with a 132.953, but he's got 6 laps on those soft tires, so he is definitely out there trying to see how long he can make those soft tires last while he's got the shot at it, and I think that he will advance into Q2 where he runs now. So if everything stays the same, he should be okay as he pulls into the pits now.
Ooh, I think, as you said, it is the limiter. Oh, Scope has retired. Yeah, Scope is definitely going to be safe. I don't think anyone's going to hit the 31.9s or he's going to get eliminated with the 131.9s. I don't think that's going to happen. But fair play to Scope for to try and survive on there. But with Moreno in the pits, I said this before. I said to one of the drivers that thought they might have survived. I can't remember which one it was, but it looked like they had managed to survive, but they just missed out because of the I think it was Q2, I think it was. But time will tell. Time will tell. We're just watching Jamie Ryan, who's coming up to the last few sectors. He's done a 32.1. That's a cracker. That's a brilliant time there from Jamie Ryan as well. Thank you to everyone that's joined the session. Thank you to the guys that are in the comments. We've got some Roy Boy fans as well. So Roy Boy currently in 13th. Hopefully he'll try and do one of the bestest ever laps in a bit. But Tim, with Rimac in 16th, do you think he'll get out of 16th or do you think he'll struggle?
I'm sorry, can you ask that again?
Sorry about that. Do you think Rimac will get out of 16th at currently where he is now?
Honestly, I don't see him getting out of Q1. Maybe out of 16th, but not out of Q1. You know, because we were just talking about Rimac earlier, that he just hasn't had the season that maybe we expected, and he hasn't validated his lap, so he definitely will not be improving this time. He does have enough time to make it around and start one final lap to try to claw his way out of Q1, so it's not over yet, as Rimac is just now entering the third and final sector. So we'll see what Rimac can do on this final lap coming up here in a moment, as most of the drivers have retired from this session because there's really nothing else that they can gain. Vienna, even in 9th place, has decided that he is safe. But it's really everyone behind Vienna that has decided they're not safe, that they need to try to go out for another lap. Harry Moreno still in the pits, but Matty, Roy Boy, Cryptox, Scott, and of course, as you see, Rimac now is out there trying to get a better lap time so that they can claw their way out of this Q1 session. 1 minute and 12 seconds remaining in the qualifying session for Q1 as Rimac has started his second and final lap of this stint. One lap on those soft tires. Let's see if it's going to be enough to give him the edge.
Absolutely. Let's see what he can try and do through into the first sector. He's just coming up to the end of the first sector. He's trying to keep that car, and he's just managed to survive. Jeremy Ryan has retired. He is 300ths quicker. He is 300ths quicker. Again, the time that he will get will still not be out to 16th. But here we go. Let's see what he can try to do in the second sector. And he looks like he has to get that perfect exit. And it looks like he has done a perfect exit. Come up to the DRS straight. And let's see what he can try and do from this point of view on. And second sector now drawing through the DRS straight. Try and get as much straight line speed as possible, 200ths quicker. So at this moment in time, I can't see him get out of 16th, but I hope he proves me wrong. I hope he proves me wrong. He's coming up to the third sector. And no, he will not give up. We got Q1 has now finished. Oh no, he has hit the wall. He has hit the wall, and unfortunately for Rimac, he's going back into the pits, and I can't see him go through. Well, he's definitely out of Q1, Tim.
Yeah, and that is unfortunate for Rimac. Maybe we should get Rimac in here and talk to him here today and see what went wrong, because he could have had it. It was going to be close, but he might have at least gotten out of P16. But then in the penultimate corner, it looked like, or the second to last corner anyway, he got a little bit loose, invalidated his lap, cut the corner, and then hit a curb, slid a little bit, hit the wall. It was a miraculous save. I'll give him that much. It just wasn't enough to advance in the Q2. Absolutely.
I mean, fair play to the drivers. They're trying everything they can. And Scott is done a 133.051. He's moved himself from 15th to 14th. Where's Matty now? Matty needs to try and get a good exit. Looks like he might have a good time. No. He's improved his time, but only by 100th of a second. So we'll find out. Obviously with Q1, normally the bottom 5, if it was a full 20 drivers, you would have the bottom 5 to go out of Q1, and then the next 5 will be there. But we'll go through that in a moment too. So here are your here are your qualifying Q1 classification for the Russian Grand Prix. Here's Lewis in first, Volcano's Prime second, Hailstone third, Scope fourth, Jamie Ryan fifth, Nitrogash sixth, Sab seventh, O'Stephen eighth, Cryptox ninth, Vienna 10th, Harry 11th, Roy Boy 12th, Moreno 13th, Scott 14th, Matty 15th, and Rimac, who we're going to invite him in a moment or two for his thoughts of Q1 in 16th place.
So here in just a few minutes, we will be able to move on to Q2 as we try to get Rimac in here very shortly.
But yeah,
So Malc, what did you make of it?
I expected some close times, to be fair. But obviously Rimac missed out on Q1 to go into Q2. And it's going to be... I wouldn't, like I said, I expect everyone to hit the 32s. I reckon high 32s. But it all depends if people gamble for the mediums. Do you think that will happen?
I think it is going to happen. I think we're going to see a lot of people gamble for the mediums here in Q2 because I think that there's going to be a benefit to going on that reverse strategy, especially if you were kicked out of Q1, which it looks like the only driver to do so is Rimac. So if you were kicked out of Q1, then I think there's going to be a huge benefit as far as trying to gamble on those medium tires. So we might see Rimac do that. If you're kicked out of Q2 even, I think that there could be a benefit there.
Yeah, I think I would have liked to see where he completely lost it. Obviously, we saw his lap, but I would have liked to see where else could he have improved massively. Just have to wait and see as well. Rimac, before you say anything, please make sure allow voice to be shared is set to always allow. If you're not sure where to do it, go to the party settings, and your option will be there. Make sure it's set to always allow. So while we got Rimac in, I'll talk to him briefly, just only about one or two questions, and that will be it. And then hear his thoughts of Q1 as well. And then Tim will talk about Q2. Rimac, how you doing, mate? You all right?
Not bad, Malc. How are you?
Not too bad, not too bad. I won't keep you long. I just want to see getting back into watching the qualifying. But where do you think the time was missed from your qualifying lap, mate?
Just as a whole, Malc, trying to get the banker in, being a little bit safe. I know from a few practice laps that quite a few of the guys were quite a bit quicker. Half doesn't feel too great around here. Roy Boy's doing okay though. But yeah, came back out on my flying lap immediately, gained loads of time through sector 1 just by sending it, but invalidated it. So last lap there on lower fuel, wasn't able to push quite as much, try to keep it in track limits, and yeah, lost it coming at sector 3.
Yeah, unfortunately for you, Rimac, we did caught the save at the moment and as well. But from your point of view, would you have done anything different, or was that the best time that you could have done tonight?
Instead of just waiting for the guys to go around and see if they pit me, I thought that the banker lap might have just been enough with only one going out, but leaving it a little bit too late in the session, I'd have probably felt a little bit less pressured through the middle of qualifying 1. But yeah, leaving it a little bit too late and then not having time to come back in, refuel and get off those scrub tyres.
Fair enough. I wish you all the very best of luck in the race tonight, mate. I'll let you get back and watch the qualifying. Cheers for that, Rimac.
Have a good one. Cheers.
Thank you. Cheers for Rimac for joining his thoughts of Q1. And we're just watching Hailstone do his lap. But is there a driver that you're watching so far, Tim?
I'm actually watching Hailstone as well. Looked like he was one of the first, if not the first driver to start his out lap. So we'll see what the Hailstone can do. Of course, we've got plenty of time left in this session, 11 minutes and 36 seconds to be exact. So if the Hailstone doesn't have a good lap this time, he's got plenty of time to bring it into the pits, regroup, put a fresh set of tires on there, and go out again. However, one thing I am noticing, and we were talking about this now, is who's going to gamble on the medium tires. It looks like the Hailstone is trying to. He's on the medium, Scott Bugner's on the mediums, Lewis, Sab, and Nitro Gash. All those drivers on the medium tires, so they are maybe going to try to go for the reverse strategy if they have the pace that they think is okay on these tires. So let's see where the Hailstone stacks up as he goes through the final corner, crossing the line. He is going to be the fastest driver for the time being, as he's the first driver to set a time, a 1:33.506, and that's actually a decent time on the medium tires, I do believe. So let's see, Cryptox is scored in second, but without a time. Not sure where he is on track in relation to everybody else, but Cryptox there in the McLaren, the next driver down, going through sector 3. We'll see if he can improve or not on the Hellstone's time. Cryptox, of course, on the soft tire, so it's a lot more possible for him to improve, but he has invalidated his lap just then, so he will not improve. Scott Bugner on the medium tires, a 133.9, a 133.5 going to the Hellstone still. Vulcanus Prime, though, going to first with a 132.2, a 133.1 for Vienna now in third. Moreno, a 132.4 in second place now, as we got 5 drivers with a time on the board. And Scott Bugner being demoted down to 6th place because Lewis's went third fastest, a 132.722 on the medium tire. So that is the kind of pace that I think we're going to have to get out of the medium tires for them to be beneficial, is the 132s, and maybe, if you're quick enough, just maybe a 131. But I think that might be stretching it a little bit for those mediums.
I think you may be right there, Tim. I think you may be right. But obviously with the mediums, you can last about 17 laps in the race. So either way, probably about, imagine 20 laps. So you bank a lap, obviously you're out lap, you bank a lap, and then you're in lap, and then you also got 17 laps, or maybe even longer, depending on other drivers' ability of the ability to try and keep their tyre wear. That's the main point. But I was just watching Roy Boy doing his time. He did a 132.6 as well. So with Roy Boy, at the moment, he's only had one podium in the last 3 races, and that was only last week's Azerbaijan, who dropped down from first to second because of an issue with the penalties scenario. But the man to watch out for, which we have mentioned a little bit, I think, is Vienna, who's just going to the pits. So Vienna's won 2 races in the last 3 races. He's won 2 races in the last 3 races. So that's impressive stuff, Tim.
Yeah, it really is. So we're going to see if that dominance can continue or not. However, I'm going to switch my focus for the moment to Nitro Gaseous. He is in the 3rd sector and slowly but surely creeping his way back to the front stretch to start his flying lap. That's another driver on the medium tires. But it looks like Nitro Gash, Steven, and Jamie Ryan, all 3 of them, is actually on the medium tires this time around. So we'll see what they can do. Jamie Ryan, will look at him because he is currently on his flying lap. So in that Racing Point machine, Jamie Ryan just now entering the 3rd sector. He is quickest just now entering the 2nd sector, as he is quickest in the 1st sector. So Jamie Ryan already looking pretty good here in Q2. Let's see if he can carry that momentum forward for the rest of the lap. And so far, he's taken a very good line around these corners. Nice wide line, trying to get as much straight line speed as possible that time around. Arc in the corners, hitting the apex is just right. So I think that Jamie Ryan might be on for a fairly quick lap this time around. He is now approaching the 3rd and final sector. He was quickest in Sector 2 as well. So Jamie Ryan, the quickest in the 1st sector, quickest in the 2nd sector. Let's see if he's going to be quickest in the 3rd sector. Can he go for the pole? His teammate, car allocated teammate anyway, Vulcanus Prime, is currently on the pole with a 132.285, but that was on the soft tires. So if Jamie Ryan can beat him out on the medium tires, he's going to be one to watch for in this race. So rounding the final corner, crossing the line, Jamie Ryan only goes to 6th, a 133.3 on the medium tires.
That's still impressive, but will that time be enough to keep into the top 10? That is the big question for Jamie Ryan. Like I said, good evening to all of you guys that are joining the session. I hope you all like and subscribe to the Invictus Racing League, and also like this video as well. We'll try and aim as many subscribers as possible. So let's just see how we've got Cryptox, Sab, Scope, Harry, Nigagash, and also Stephen. Oh, sorry, Nigagash has just crossed over the line with a 133.3, similar time to Jamie, but only missed out by 0.02 of a second. Obviously, if you're in Q2, which we mentioned briefly, if you're in Q2 and you're in the top 10, whatever tyre that you qualified on, the fastest lap, will be your starting tyre. That will be the most impressive stuff. Moreno has already retired with 6 minutes left. So he's saying that he's already happy with 132.4 based on the times there. In that sense, I think someone did, like I said earlier on, someone did that before and missed out massively on the qualifying. But from there, Nigel Gash has just gone a little bit wide, so I don't think he's going to improve his time. But I'm just going to go back to Schofield, coming to the third sector. And he needs to try and get the bestest ever lap he has ever done. But like I said, his last podium was back in the first race, so... And he's doing alright, to be fair. He's only third in the Drivers' Championship, which we'll go through the standings in a moment or two. But, and I tell you what, just as we were saying that he had the first podium in ages, he's just got pole position in Q2 at the moment, Tim.
Yeah, and Scopefielder, as you said, pole position right now for him. So maybe he heard us talking about if he gets a win today, that he's going to be the winningest driver in the Performance League for Invictus Racing League. So maybe that just put a little bit of a fire underneath the rear end of Scopefielder to make him go just a little bit faster. And look at this, the Hellstone going second quickest, a 132.067. So the Hellstone showing that he's going to be one to watch today. And of course, Vulcanus Prime still sitting there in P3 after being demoted after the last two drivers crossed the line, but still a 132.2 for Vulcanus Prime. That is not a bad time at all. In fact, I think Scopefielder is really the only driver that we've seen break into the 131s today. There might have been actually one or two in Q1, but he's certainly the only one to break through the 131 bracket in Q2, as we've got just over 4 minutes remaining in this session. So far, it's looking good for Scope.
So far, crossing your fingers, toes, everything. But it all depends. With 4 minutes left of the qualifying in Q2, can Lewis try and get another perfect lap? He's going to have to try. I don't know if he's going to go for it again, but it looks like he is actually. But based on those times, I reckon, I think we probably hit the 132.3. I've got a feeling we might have the barrier at 133. No, actually, sorry. I reckon 32.6 will probably just do it, but it all depends if everyone else gambles on the softs. Oh, Lewis has lost the back end, but he has improved his time massively by 600ths of a second. But it all depends on. Oh, he's invalidated his lap. So he will lose out massively. Tim, who are you watching so far?
Going to take a look at Scott Bugner down there in 133.9 so far, and he's only good enough for 13th at the moment. And while we're on the topic of Scott Bugner, there's actually something that's kind of flying under the radar that we should talk about, Malc, and that is the championship battle. Scott Bugner is second in the points with 20 points gap to none other than Cliffy, who did not start last week and does not appear to be starting the race tonight as well. So theoretically speaking, Scott Bugner could walk away from the race today as the points leader. And there's only one race left after this. That's Vietnam next week. Correct me if I'm wrong on that, Malc. So Scott Bugner, we could very well be looking at a champion next week.
You are right. We are at Vietnam for the finale race of this epic season at the Performance League, at the Invictus Racing League. And you are right, he could have the potential of getting, could be close, could be equal, or could be just ahead of Cliffy. But it all depends on how he can try and get a good start and try and get out of Q2 into Q3. That's the biggest talking point as well. Let's see what he can try to do. Come up to the last few corners now. 32.7. Moves it up to 9th. I think he'll have to go again. I think he might have to do one more lap. Do you agree with that, Tim?
Yeah, probably so.
So let's see how Scott can try and improve his time. But you rightly said that, Tim, about with the. I was going to try and build up with the championship, the title decider as well. Not only we're talking about the drivers itself, but we can also talk about the constructors, which we'll talk about, and that's even closer than before. Obviously, with Scope and Cryptox in lead with 259 points. With CMD Racing, and you got Moreno, and Nightshades is in second with 256. So 3 points. 3 points within 2 races left are absolutely at the edge of your seat moment, Tim.
Yeah, it certainly is, and currently watching Cryptox, of course, and he is one of the drivers who has to set a lap, and I don't think he's going to be able to, so I think he is going to be missing out because he's only in the second sector, and he does not have enough time to make it back around, and he doesn't even have a time set, and he's invalidated his lap. So Cryptox not going to be advancing into Q3. He's going to be out in Q2. Sab's going to more than likely be out in Q2 as well. He is on his final lap, though, and he's quickest in the second sector that time around. So Sab going through the third sector now. Let's see what he can do. He's got only a few corners left, but the time is officially over. So that means that this will officially be his final lap and his only time lap, as long as he does not invalidate it from here until he gets to the start-finish line. Cryptox will not be able to set a time at all. So let's see where Sab stacks up with the rest of the field as he crosses the line. He goes into second. Sab P2, a 131.774. He is into the third qualifying session. Congratulations to Sab. That is an impressive time.
That is impressive. Oh, Stephen is a 10th quicker on his time for the second sector. Let's see what he can try and do into the third one. He needs to try and get a perfect time. Looks like he's doing it absolutely smooth there. Let's see what he can try and do on the last few corners. He can try and get a good time. He might get into the 32.7 in the top 10. So at the moment he survived in top 10. Matty will not improve his time, but where's Nitrogash? Nitrogash is coming to the last few corners. And he's 6/10 quicker. He's 6/10 quicker. Oh, beautiful. Beautiful time there from Nitrogash. Moves up to third with a 131.8. Wow. Damn, that is brilliant times from all these drivers here. But Stephen missed out on Q2 by 4 thousandths. You've heard me right. 4 thousandths of a second. And Lewis is the only one on the medium tyres, Tim.
Oh, wow. So that is... Honestly, I expected there to be a lot more drivers on the mediums. Now, of course, there might be come the race time because the drivers who were out on this session and the last session might decide to switch to the mediums. But honestly, I'm surprised that more drivers in the top 10 did not gamble. But apparently there just wasn't the pace there that maybe I thought that there would be. So Lewis was able to find it, but no one else was able to. And to be fair to Lewis, you said being the only driver on mediums is in 10th place. So it was so very close that he was going to lose out. So probably a good thing to have qualified on the soft tires. I am a fan of the reverse strategy, but I'll be the first one to admit it does not always work as intended.
Absolutely. But it's still impressive stuff. But yeah, we're just going to try and invite Scott because he's the driver eliminated as well as the other drivers. But here are your classification for Q2 for the Russian Grand Prix. You've got Volcanius Prime in first. You've got Sab in second. You got Nitrogash in third, Scope in fourth, Hailstone fifth. You got Harry in sixth, Vienna seventh, Moreno eighth, Royboy ninth, Lewis 10th, O'Stephen 11th, Scott 12th, Matty 13th, Jamie 14th, Cryptox 15th place as well. But we will invite Scott in a moment too, and just hear his thoughts. But because of his situation with the championship at stake, but we will invite him in a moment or two. So Tim, I'll let you carry on with the honours.
Alright, well, here in just a moment we will be getting underway for our final qualifying session, that being Q3. Just waiting for the drivers to pull out of their garage stalls, go out for a time. Only 10 drivers in this final qualifying session. Looks like Volcanus Prime, Lewis, Royboy, Sab, Skillfilter, the Hellstone, Harry, Nitrogash, Vienna, and Moreno, just to refresh your memory on those who advanced and those who did not. So with just 11 minutes and 35 seconds remaining, it looks like we got one driver about to go out on track now. That is a Haas. Is that Royboy or is that Scope? Scope is in the AlphaTauri, so it would be Royboy going out there in the Haas at the time being, but it looks like Scope is out there as well. I was wrong, actually. It wasn't the AlphaTauri of Scope Filter, so right driver, wrong car. So he's going to be the first driver out on track, and theoretically speaking, the first driver to set a timed lap once they make their way back around. So let's take a look at the tires. However, I would imagine that they are all on the soft tires. In fact, all of them are, except for the Hellstone at the time being, but the Hellstone is still in the pit, so we'll see what he selects as soon as he pulls out on track. So Scope Filter being the first one out there on the softs, Lewis out there on the softs as well, and Lewis will be starting on the medium tires. Let's not forget that. He will be on the medium tires in, well, not 10th place. He qualified in 10th in Q2, but wherever he qualifies this time will determine his starting position, but he will start on those medium set of tires. And now that the Hellstone is out, it looks like he is going to try to qualify in Q3 on the medium tire. So not sure what he's trying to do there, but he does have plenty of time to give that a try and still pull into the pits and put on a fresh set of softs if these don't work. So we'll see what the Hellstone can do, as well as Scope Filter Lewis and Vulcanus Prime, the drivers out on track at the moment.
Absolutely, to try and see what time Scope Filter can try and improve. We are trying to get Scott into the party, but if he can't make it, we'll try and fight someone quickly. But from everyone's point of view, with Scope in, he's one of those consistent drivers as well, and he never gives up. Scope Filter, he never ever gives up, and I would love to see him win the race, to break the record, to be fair, and that will be, it'll be a monumentous achievement at Invictus Racing League for all the right reasons as well. Obviously, he was the PC champion as well, and he's winning. It's just, it grows and grows, but he needs to try and produce the goods in the Performance League. Just as I mentioned, we're going to let Tim do the questions. Quick questions to Scott. Scott, before you say anything, please make sure allow voice to be shared is set to always allow. If you're not sure how to do it, go to the party settings, and there's an option called allow voice to be shared. Make sure it's set to always allow. Tim, I'll let you do the honours to talk to Scott about Q2.
All right, so Scott, are you ready? Are you there, Scott?
I'm there. I'm here.
All right, awesome. So just a couple questions here for you, Scott. First things first, obviously you were knocked out of Q2. You had a good effort going, but just did not quite make it. Do you think that there's anything more that you could have done to maybe put yourself over that line to get into the top 10 that time around, or was that all you could do?
No, there was a lot more, but I couldn't get a lap together. I was doing sort of 32 twos, 33 threes in practice qualifying before tonight, so there was more pace there, but just couldn't string the lap together. I've never really been a qualifying person, so I'm sure I can get my elbows out in the race and gain some more points from Cliffy.
And that is actually my second question, is that as far as I know, Cliffy is not going to be starting the race here tonight. So that means that, theoretically speaking, if you were to be able to win this race and get the fastest lap, that you could walk away with the points lead with only one race remaining. So how does that affect your strategy going into the race tonight? Are you going to try to, maybe push a little bit harder and try to make sure that you get into, maybe a podium position or close to it to capitalize your points payout? Or are you just going to try to play it safe, since we are in the Performance League, and as long as you finish, you gain points?
I've never been one to play it safe. That's probably what's cost me championships in the past. No, as soon as the lights go out, elbows out, and try and get into the top 3, top 4, I think. Hope.
All right, well, Scott, we're going to let you go and think about what you're going to do on the race. Good luck tonight, and you know what? I hate it for you that you're out of Q2, but you had a good run going.
Thank you very much.
Cheers for that, Scott. And damn, Nitrocash has done a 131.753. That's a cracker. Those speed. Obviously, Scope did 132.1. Morano did the fastest lap with a 132 flat. Harry did a 132.6. But Nitrocash in the Red Bull car, he's definitely got some wings at that moment from his point of view. Let's see how Lewis can try and improve his time. He's in the third sector. And tell you what, he's going to have to try and push that Renault car up to the limits. He's coming to the last few corners and try and see what time. If he can try and hit the 31s, he does. Oh my, 131.1. I tell you what, that is a cracker. And also Sab, who's I just saw him, went off a little bit at the last corner. That could have cost him a few tenths here and there, but he still moves up to second with a 131.6, so he is getting the recognition that he needs here, Sab.
Yeah, and Sab doing a very good job. Honestly, you know, we're not used to seeing Sab up here in the top 3 positions. You know, usually we see him battling out somewhere in midfield, but Sab has really turned it up here today. I think that Russia is his track. So this could very well become the Sab show here today. He's not been the fastest car, but he has been very consistent, and he has been close. We might see a podium for him today, if not a top 5.
Absolutely, but obviously I don't want to call it as a commentator's curse or anything like that, but he has been real unlucky this season in general, not only in the Performance League but also in the F4. But I want to see that changed in tonight's race. I really do hope for Sab as well. So let's have a look at Roy Boy now. Oh, he's just going back into the bits. Let's see how the Hailstone can try and do on his time. For Chaos Pro, he's on his out lap. But just we'll try and see how the Hailstone. Oh, he's going back into the pits. He validated his lap through the 3rd sector. That's, I tell you what, Tim, that's going to be either from a podium finish to dropping down all the way down through the grid, because those penalties are absolutely going to be absolutely agonising and distraught for some drivers tonight.
Yeah, and you know, that is something that we really haven't talked about much tonight, Malc, is there have been some track invalidations in qualifying, but we haven't really talked about how that's going to impact the race. And you're right, it is going to impact the race tremendously, because if we're seeing this many invalidated laps and this many corner cuts and this many exceeding track limits in qualifying, just imagine what we're going to see in the race when we have about 15 or 16 cars battling it out going into these corners. And speak of the devil, Vulcanus Prime just invalidated his lap, so we're definitely going to see that a lot. And so the end of this race isn't just going to be determined by finishing position. It's going to be determined by how many penalties you have picked up throughout the course of the race. So anything can happen here tonight. It could very well be a wild one, and I've actually heard from a few drivers in the past that the reason they don't like Sochi is because it's very easy to pick up a time penalty. It's kind of like Canada in a way, where Canada has that final chicane that if you just look at it wrong, you pick up a time penalty. Sochi's kind of the same way, except instead of it being difficult corners to master, at least in my opinion, it seems like it's just really hard to get the car to stay stable. So that kind of makes it a lot easier to invalidate your lap and exceed track limits just enough to get that penalty.
Absolutely, and obviously I do agree with you. I'm one of those guys, one of those drivers that do not like this track, only because of the penalties that are a little bit ridiculous, but overall you try and push your car as much as you can at Sochi, but I can understand the frustrations, because obviously you want to try and get the best out of that car, the best in the division of the league as well. And Moreno's, he's about his lap, he's drifted too far left, just a tad too far left as I was watching that lap, so he will have to do another one again. But he's done a 132 flat earlier on, and looking at those times, could we see probably Lewis at the moment? He's the closest to probably hitting the 130s, high 130s. But do you think anyone will challenge Lewis tonight?
I'm sure that they're going to have to, but they're going to have to start thinking about it soon, because we only have 2 minutes and 20 seconds remaining in this qualifying session. So with 4 drivers yet to set a time, either of those can go faster than Lewis. Anyone out there can go faster than Lewis. Lewis could also hold on to the pole. So we're just going to have to wait and see what happens, but the clock is ticking, so these drivers who are not already out on track need to start thinking about it now, because they don't have a lot of time left. Scope Filter's on his out lap, Sab's on his out lap, Lewis is on his out lap and about to enter the 3rd sector, so he's about to start his flying lap soon. Harry is already on his flying lap. Moreno might be out there trying to go for one final flying lap because he doesn't have enough time to come back to the pits. So now it looks like Vulcanus Prime is going out on his out lap. Maybe Roy Boy soon. In fact, Roy Boy is on his out lap, it does look like, as is the Hailstone and Vienna. So now this is what we're going to see. Now we're seeing who's going to fight their way up and maybe beat Lewis out, or will Lewis be able to hold him off? because he's still on his out lap, but he's starting his flying lap now. So we're going to watch him, and we'll see if he goes quicker than his current time in any sector, and if he can improve on his current time.
Bear in mind, though, Tim, just a reminder, he's the only one out of the top 10 on the mediums. So if he does keep pole position, this will be the bestest ever advantage he has ever had, definitely ever had, at the Invictus Racing League, the Performance League. So Lewis obviously trying to push everything he can, and he's a tenth quicker. So we could hit the 130s the way it's going. Or just hold on, yellow flag set to 3. We've got a yellow flag set to 3. That might be the Williams, or that might be the Red Bull as well, trying to get enough gap to try and build their lap as well. So let's see how Lewis can try and do in the DRS straight, and we can try and push on massively. Oh my god, we could hit the 39, sorry. 1 minute, we could hit the 130s, the high 130s, Tim. And I tell you what, with Lewis coming up to the third sector, this is the corner where I absolutely hated in F4 last night. Oh, he's kept his car perfect. It's not going to invalidate. Could we hit the 30s? Qualifying has now stopped. The qualifying has now stopped. And here we go. Oh, beautiful. Beautiful lap there from Lewis, 130.9. Brilliant. And I tell you what, Scope did a 131.4. Sab is 8 thousandths quicker in third place. Tim.
So let's see what Sab can do here. He is currently in the second sector, about to approach the third. He is using Harry as a car to get some slipstream off of, definitely increasing his straight line speed that time, and really sending it into this corner here in the third sector. So let's see what he can do. Sab currently in third with a 131.660. The pole time right now set by Lewis is a 130.916. So let's see if Sab can improve on that lap or not. And he's going into the pits. Sab is actually going into the pits, so he's not even going to try for it. So Sab is not going to start any better than third. Nitro Gash, though, about to complete his flying lap. Let's see if he can improve on his lap time. He goes to third, a 131.205 for Nitro Gash. That puts Sab all the way back down to fifth. Vienna looks like he went to sixth place just now. Harry in seventh going into the pits. Moreno in eighth. Dropping down to ninth, though, because who was that? That was the Hellstone, I do believe, who jumped to sixth place. A 131.663 for the Ferrari driver. Qualifying is over, so this is all that we're going to have to get. Everyone, I think, is finished except for Scopefielder, who's going into the pits now. So what you see is what you get. Lewis, congratulations on the pole position.
Brilliant stuff there. And also, as I said earlier on, just a reminder again, he's the only driver in the top 10 with the mediums. So he could go absolutely long, but it all depends if anyone... He's going to get swamped at the start with the softs, but I wouldn't write him off. I think once the mediums kick in, I think he'll shoot off and he will do well. But then again, this is F1. Any prediction you probably think could happen could be flying off the wall. So, I don't know. I think it's going to be different calls as well. So we're just watching the classification. Here are your the full qualifying classification for Q3 for the Invictus Racing League, the Performance League. You got Lewis in first, you got Volcanus Prime in second, Nitro Gash in third, Scope in fourth, Sab in fifth, you got the Hellstone in sixth, Vienna in seventh, Harry in eighth, you got Moreno in ninth, and Roy Boy in 10th. But for the guys who have not seen the whole results, obviously we can't see from 10th onwards because they've already done the Q1, Q2 as well. We got, obviously, Stephen finished in 11th, Scott finished in 12th, Matty finished in 13th, Jamie Ryan finished in 14th, Cryptops in 15th, and Rymac in 16th place. But also, I'd like to thank Rymac and Scott for joining us for the Q1, Q2 quick fire questions of their thoughts of Q1 and Q2 respectively. But overall, it's one of those things where you have to be absolutely at your very, very best. But let's just hope Scott... Bear in mind, though, Scott has been more of a more doing well in the race rather than the qualifying scenario. But where do you think Scott will finish tonight?
I'd say that Scott's going to get a top 10. Not sure what he'll be able to do after that. He seemed to be very confident in his ability to have a good race despite not having a good qualifying session. So definitely going to be keeping an eye on him, but I'm not so sure that he's going to be able to claw his way up and win the race and take control of the points lead after today. But I could be wrong. We'll see what happens. Just waiting, of course, for all the drivers to ready up and line up on the grid. So we're going to see, I think, a good race ahead of us, Malc.
Good race. It's going to be ecstatic. We're on the penultimate race. When I say penultimate, we're on round 11, the 123rd Performance League race tonight. And obviously next week is the finale, which will be at the Vietnam track. Tough times for a brand new track in this game as well. So it's going to be quite challenging, I would agree. But anyone could be on their day, would be the best. It just all be perfect on every possible way here in this league as well. So we're just trying to wait for the drivers to get them all set up and ready to go. I wouldn't be surprised if from 11th downwards, I think we would not be surprised if people have gone for the mediums to start off. Because if you start with the hards, even though it is the slowest tyre, but it will last long as well. But either way, in this track, it's not going to happen too much. So in this scenario as well, so I think we look like we're about to kick off at this point in time. Yes, Sean says speak up. Oh, but yeah, just hopefully we'll try and wait and see if we're going to see some more epic battles galore at the Russian Grand Prix for the Invictus Racing League, the Performance League. And I tell you what, this is going to be absolutely epic. Like I said, make sure if you've got social media sites, make sure if you've got Facebook, Twitter, or Instagram, make sure you like, subscribe, and follow for all the live races on here as well. So you got YouTube, which we're watching live exclusive on the Thursday nights with myself, Malc, and Tim. We also got the F1 League with Gareth and Sab. We also got Harry and Scott for F2. We also got Rymac and Jakob, I believe it was, for F3. We used to have a commentator for F4, but unfortunately not there. But we do have the live races on F4 when we can, on the Wednesday nights at 8 PM. That's for the PS4 sides. We also got the Xbox sides on Twitch for the F1 Performance League on the Sunday nights at 9:30, and also the F2 League on Tuesday nights at 8 PM. Same time as the F2 League on the PS4, but for the first time this season, and it's been an absolute epic battle with Scope being the Drivers' Championship winner on that league. So let's see what's going to happen from their point of view for everything else as well. So obviously for Lewis, trying to do everything he can from this point of view, needs to try and get a massive good start. So let's see what he can try and do here from this point of view. So Tim, I'll let you build up the race, but I tell you what, before you say anything, top three tonight.
Top three: Lewis, Scope Filter, and Sab. That is my top three, with an honorable mention of Nitro Gash.
Ooh. Let's see if you've got your betting slips ready. We're about to kick off. We're slowly onto the racing grid. So Tim, as always every week, it's all yours, mate.
And there you see the drivers lining up on the grid, finding their appropriate grid positions here in just a moment. We will be going green for 27 laps around this racetrack. Got Lewis, Vulcan's Prime, Nitro Gas, Scope Filter, Sab, your top 5. The Hellstone, Vienna, Harry, Moreno, and Roy Boy, your top 10. Those drivers, they are ready and they are watching the lights. And there you hear those engines revving. You hear those itchy pedal feet. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 red lights in the air. No red lights. We are green for the Invictus Racing League Performance League Russian Grand Prix. Lewis leading him down to turn number 1, but he quickly getting passed by Vulcanus Prime on those soft tires. The medium tires being swallowed up on that Renault, but Lewis still holding strong into second place. Looking like it might be 3 wide going into turn 1. It is not, at least not for the lead. A little bit of contact between Lewis and Vulcanus Prime. Nitro Gas still holding on in third, trying to chase down these two drivers, as now it's starting to get spread out in the back. Nitro Gas, though, having to deal with Scopefilter and Alpha Tower on his outside, and Scopefilter really sends it on to the inside. A little bit of a lock up there, and we have 3 wide down the front straightaway with Nitro Gas, Scopefilter, and Vienna for just a moment. Scopefilter now getting by Nitro Gas for third. Nitro Gas dropping back to fourth. Vienna passing him for fourth now. Nitro Gas dropping back to fifth. A little bit of contact there, and Vienna might have cut the corner. Some contact still as Nitro Gas tries to regain the race circuit. Nitro Gas now dropping back to fifth. Vienna in fourth.
Yeah, that was a bit of an epic, manic start there at the Invictus Racing League, the Performance League. But I tell you what, Nitrogas has done everything possible to hold on for third place, but still, he couldn't do anything about it with the on-charge of Vienna, and he's trying to make the move on the outside there. Oh, nearly. He didn't make the move, but Moreno's moved up to 6th. Sab's dropped down to 7th place as well. Sab's trying to get back himself up into 6th place. And I tell you what, if this is the penultimate race, what's it going to be like in the finale race next week? I cannot wait. But I tell you what, we got the battle between Rymac and Hellstone briefly, but I saw there was some contact at turn 1 as well. But still, what an epic start at the Performance League tip.
Yeah, and look at Rymac. He has already made his way up into the top 10 after starting all the way down in 16th place, so good job on Rymac's part to claw his way up there and gain a lot of track position. Of course, we're still watching Lewis in first place. It looks like Roy Boy has a problem, and he's pitting for the hard tire, so he's going to try to make the rest of the way.
Oh no!
Because he has had some sort of problem.
Oh no! Sorry, Tim. I apologise for that. There was a bit of contact between Rymac and O'Stephen there. Just before the end of the first sector. There was not much gap. It looked like Rymac tried to make the move on the inside, and it looked like O'Stephen tried to close the gap, but because of that, both cars collided a little bit. I don't know if he's had a bit of front wing damage as well at the same time. Yes, he has. He's lost both end plates as well, so he will have to try and go back into the pits either way, because he will be swamped down the DRS straights as well. So Tim, who are you watching so far?
Riding on board with Lewis as he locks up through that corner just a little bit. He's running in second place to Vulcanus Prime, so I stand corrected. I did say he was in first a moment ago, but he is in fact in second place. He started this race on medium tires, so he is at a little bit of a pace disadvantage as far as to those who started on softs, but he's going to be able to stay out longer, so it might just be able to work out for him. But he did not get swallowed as maybe we had anticipated. Instead, he only lost 1 position on the start, and now he's trying to drive away from Scopefilter, who is back there in third. And with DRS being active this time, Scope does have DRS on Lewis, but will he be able to do anything with it? He's got the slipstream down this straightaway, and he's looking on the inside, but not able to do it. Scope thought about maybe dive bombing it, but not able to do so. Good job on Scope's part for recognizing that he just was not close enough to get by Lewis, but he's starting to get there. He is gaining on him. It's not a matter of if he gets there, it's a matter of when he gets there. But even if he gets there, it doesn't mean that he's not going to be able. It doesn't mean he's going to be able to get by Lewis, because Lewis is still doing a good job at keeping his pace on these medium tires. And it's not going to be too long until the softs really start to wear down. So Lewis is really just being patient while Scope is fighting a bit of a losing battle.
Yeah, I think the more he's trying to challenge Lewis, his tyre wear is going to be absolutely struggling. And with Lewis on the medium tyres, he could just play it out here. He could try and hold on as much as possible. And he doesn't want to try and lose too much time on Vulcanus Prime either way. But with this situation in the medium tyres, it is definitely on the cards for Lewis to win this race. But it all depends if he can keep his cool, keep his calm. And that will be one hell of a race itself. So Matty and Jamie having a bit of a battle for 11th and 12th respectively. Let's just have a quick glance at those two. So look, Jamie's trying to close in on Matty, who's just gone past. Hailstone's moved up to 8th. No, Harry's moved up to 8th now. So they must have had a bit of contact. Well, they're trying a bit of contact. They've a bit of overtaking galore, as you can see at just ahead of the screens. And we could have a 2 wide situation. Actually, we might have a 2 wide. We might have a 3 wide. Oh, no, we're at the 2 wide situation. Scott moves up to 9th. Brilliant move there. Brilliant move there from Scott. Hailstone drops down to 10th. But the battle for 9th and 10th is... Oh my days. It just heated up massively, Tim.
Yeah, that it has. Scott Bugner, of course, knowing what's on the line, a possible championship. He could walk away today as the points leader if he's able to claw his way up into the first position. Maybe even a podium position would do the trick. Not sure if that's going to happen, but nonetheless, the higher Scott finishes today, the better chance he has at winning the championship, because he's just going to increase his points gained on Cliffy. Of course, we don't know if Cliffy's going to be able to make the race next week or not, so that still has yet to be determined. Scott Bugner could leave this race as the points leader and still lose it to Cliffy next week if Cliffy decides to race. So it is still very much up in the air, but Scott knows what he has to do today, that he has to gain as many points as possible if he wants a chance to win this championship, and the Hailstone is not making it easy on him at all. The Hailstone is basically being glued to the back of that car for the past half of a lap now, and it doesn't look like the Hailstone's going to go far away. He's dropping back a little bit, but he is keeping Scott within his sights. He's keeping him not only within DRS range, but within slipstream range, trying to make sure that he can stay as close to him as possible, because the Hailstone, he's wanting a good finish too. And Scott is also going to have to deal with his car-allocated teammate of Harry up there in 8th place. And that's only car-allocated teammate, mind you. That is not necessarily his actual teammate. So it's not like there's going to be team orders here for two drivers to, for a driver to pull over and let the other one by. This is just two competitors racing who happen to be in the same car.
Absolutely, and both drivers who are in the F1 League on Monday nights trying to push on as much as possible. But with Harry trying to, obviously in the F1 League, Harry's trying to battle it out with Gamer for the title. It looks like his chances are slowly drifting away, but hopefully he will bounce back, hopefully for the finale race. But it all depends if he can try and keep his cool, keep his calm as well. So let's see it. We got a 3. Come on, we want a 3 wide situation. Come on, we want the Hailstone try and push on, and Scott try and push on Harry. This should be the DRS activation on these two drivers. But they look like they've drifted too far back. They've drifted too far back. It looks like Scott could have a chance to try and make the move on Harry. It might be a little bit of a late move. No. Oh, I thought he would try and make the move. Late move there in that situation, but still, for Scott, he's trying. He nearly watched it from the front end of that car. He's very, very lucky, Scott. As you can see, he's trying to push on with that overtake mode. As push everything he can. Will Scott try and push on? This is the DRS straight. Here we go. Let's see how Harry can try and defend. Like I said, Volcanus Prime already had 6 seconds worth of penalties in this race, so either way it's going to be absolutely swarm. Scott's trying to make the move on that situation, but still isn't going to work out. But could he make the move on the inside? Too wide. Brilliant move there from Scott. Unbelievable stuff there, Tim.
Yeah, so Scott definitely making his way up through the field now, trying to get all the points that he can. Currently watching Lewis 1.1 seconds behind Vulcanus Prime, and as you mentioned, Vulcanus Prime already with 6 seconds worth of time penalties in this race. So Lewis, theoretically speaking, or virtually the leader at the time being, but Vulcanus Prime definitely kind of trying to pull away. But I think that those soft tires are starting to show their age, while the mediums are just now coming to life. 5 laps on these tires right now, so Lewis is starting to gain on him, and he's now within DRS range, 0.8 of a second separating these two drivers as they're in Sector 3 on lap 6 of 27 here for the Russian Grand Prix. So there's going to be a DRS range coming up on the front straightaway. We'll see what Lewis can do on Vulcanus Prime once they get there. Vulcanus is probably knowing that Lewis is gaining on him, but he kicked it into high gear there. 1.084 seconds separating these drivers now. So just out of DRS range, but where is the detection zone? That is what is important. Will Lewis be close enough when they reach the detection zone? We'll see what happens here, and Lewis does have DRS. He does have the DRS on Vulcanus Prime. He's not going to be close enough to make a pass, but he is going to gain some valuable time on Vulcanus. So, there you see it now, 0.6 of a second separating these two drivers. Lewis dropping back down to 0.7 of a second, the gap is now. So Vulcanus Prime still very fast on those soft tires, but they are starting to wear down. The medium's starting to come to life. It's only a matter of time before Lewis is able to take the lead, whether it be through a pass on track or when Vulcanus Prime decides to pit.
It just all depends. Normally, the tyre strategy for the best one, for the soft mediums, is normally on lap 10. You can do an earlier pit stop if you want to try and avoid at any point in time. So on my days, Vulcanus Prime is now got another 3-second time penalty. So he's got to be very, very careful, because another few more of those and that's it. He'll have a DSQ already, and it's already on lap 7. So I think it will be pressure point for Vulcanus Prime to try and not get any more penalties in this race. So Lewis is trying to slowly build up, but either way, he doesn't need to challenge that much, to be fair. He doesn't need to challenge because he knows that Vulcanus Prime needs to try and pit. I reckon he'll pit at probably about lap 9 or 10. That's the best strategy to go for. Roy Boy's got a 3-second time penalty for multiple warnings. We've got a bit of a battle between Moreno and Vienna, as well as Sab. Sab in the top 7 as well. So let's see how Sab can try and watch. I'm going to watch it from Sab's point of view, because Sab could try, and Vienna's just getting swamped. He could lose 2 positions here, and he does lose 2 positions. Sab holding on the inside. Oh, that was close there from Vienna. I tell you what, Vienna had the penalty because he must have crossed over the line, over the curb, and not much. But I thought Sab was going to try and go for the inside at that point. But still, what a race so far, Tim.
Yeah, the race is really starting to shape up, not just in the midfield, but in the front as well. Lewis down to 0.4 of a second behind Vulcanus Prime. Had it down to 0.3 there a moment ago. A lockup there from Lewis is not going to do him any favors. Vulcanus Prime still holding smooth, but with those time penalties, you know, you got to think that that's going through his mind. He's trying to think of how he can overcome those, and I just don't think that it's going to happen. Lewis with the DRS now going to try to make it close to Vulcanus Prime, thinking about the outside line, not able to do it. He thought about going on the inside, he thought about going on the outside, not able to get underneath him on any side of the track that time, so he's going to have to regroup and try again when they get to the front straightaway with the next DRS zone. Vulcanus Prime, though, definitely starting to lose some time. Let's see if he dives down to the pits this time. No, not yet. Vulcanus is going to stay out there for at least another lap. And he spins! Vulcanus Prime spins and gets into the wall, and now he has lost his right end plate, so that puts Lewis up into first. Vulcanus Prime will drop down to at least 3rd place, because Scope Filter is surely going to be able to pass him here soon with all that wing damage.
Yeah, Vulcanus Prime doesn't know what he's going to do. He's going to try. Yeah, you can tell from the right-hand plate, he's completely gone off. But let's see if Vulcanus Prime can try and keep up. But I doubt it very much, because obviously with the damaged wing, he will have to pit. And I will not be surprised if he pits now. Yeah, but he'll have to go long on those mediums. He'll have to go very, very long. But let's go back to Vienna, Sab and Moreno battle. And then come up to the end of the first sector. Sab's doing a brilliant race so far, Tim. I don't want to jinx it, but Sab's doing a brilliant race so far. Do you agree?
Yeah, it's probably not quite where he wants to be running, of course. He qualified in 5th place, and so now he's all the way back into 7th, but still holding his own and doing a good job out there. So Sab, I'm sure, will be happy with a decent points day here today and trying to fight with Vienna there. A little bit of a lockup from Sab, kind of lost him a little bit of time, but I think he had no choice. Otherwise, he was going to get into the back of Vienna, so that was actually some good evasive action from Sab there to avoid hitting his fellow competitor in the Williams. Of course, Vienna's got his sights set on Moreno in front of him, who is very, very close, actually. So the time between those two drivers is just 0.5 of a second separating them. So Vienna could very well make a move on Moreno very shortly. Of course, with both of them on the soft tires, their tire wear is more or less going to be the same, just depending on who's maybe managed their tires better than the other. So Moreno and Vienna will probably pit at the same time, so I really don't think that we're going to see an overtake on Vienna's part until after the next round of pit stops. But Moreno is actually starting to gain on Vienna now, so Moreno might actually stay ahead of him for the rest of this race. I mean, we still got plenty of racing left, but Vienna is also dealing with the Mercedes of Sab once again, who regrouped and got the DRS and got close to him. And 0.3 of a second separating these drivers now. Sab is really just a man on a mission today.
Absolutely, and I know you said he dropped down from 5th to was 7th, and now moves up to 6th. But still, I believe in Sab, and I'm sure everyone will believe in Sab to try and get a really good result. I really do hope he gets a podium before the end of the season. I really do hope he pushes on to get a podium either tonight or probably next week, all being well. But there was a few penalties that we missed there. So Lewis had a 3-second time penalty. Jamie Ryan had a 3-second time penalty as well. So, and I think there was someone else that had another 3-second time penalty. I could not remember who. But either way, the penalties are going to rank up massively, and that's what's going to cause so many headaches galore for all these drivers tonight. But so far, I think we might see battle galore. We might see Jamie try and make the move on the inside. We've got too wide against Scott. Jamie try and make the move on the inside. Oh, the battling out the softs are completely gone. Scott's holding, defending for all his might. Jamie trying to go on the inside because he thought that Scott was going to carry on, but Jamie will carry on and push on. And majority of the drivers have all gone out into the soft drivers have all gone into the pits now for the recommended pit stop strategy, which is on lap 10. Tim.
Yeah, and now with all the pit stops happening, the lineup is really being shaken up. Of course, those who started on the mediums are going to be able to stay out, so Lewis out in front by 15 seconds over Jamie Ryan, and I think that he might just be losing a little bit of time to Jamie Ryan. He gains it in one corner, then he loses in the other, so holding more or less steady with Lewis's lead there. Of course, Maddie in third, 4 seconds behind Jamie Ryan. Scopefielder in fourth, who was just pitted and on the medium tire. So with him being in fourth place and 8 seconds behind Maddie, who is 4 seconds behind Jamie Ryan, who is 15 behind Lewis, Scopefielder, I don't think is going to be able to inherit the lead once Lewis, Jamie, and Maddie pit, but he might be able to gain a position or two. But I think Lewis is just a little bit further ahead to where he basically has a free pit stop to those back in fourth place. Now, if Jamie Ryan tries to do the overcut or if he tries to do the undercut and he has the pace to make it work, then Lewis could lose out. Well, maybe not quite lose out, but he could lose a little bit of time. I think that he's going to hold on to the first position for quite a while, and once everyone makes their pit stop, we'll see how it really stacks up. But so far, Lewis sitting pretty, but by no means has a free pit stop to second place.
Absolutely, but he needs to try and push on as well. And like I say, with Lewis's scenario, I can't see him dropping a podium here, guaranteed at least a podium tonight. I can't see him dropping that. Moreno, who's just overtook Vienna in 6th, he's now got a 3-second time penalty for multiple warnings now. So let's see how. I'm just looking at the leader from even if Lewis did pit, he would still be ahead of Scope, I believe. So normally the pit stops between 20 to 25 seconds. So he might just get back to third. Might, but with the softs, he will. Even if Scope does get ahead of Lewis, Lewis will be on the softs at the end of the race, regardless. We've just got the battle between Moreno, Vienna, and Sab and Volcanus Prime joining the party. So we've got about a 4-car battle. We also got Scott Bogner and Hailstone for 11th and 12th, and also got 14th, 15th, and 16th of O. Stephen, Rymac, and Roy Boy for their battles as well. So we're not even hitting the halfway marker just yet, Tim. So what's your overall review, should we say, of near the halfway point of this race?
It's been interesting, and oh my goodness, Lewis almost lost it out of the final corner. That was a nail biter. He was turning dead right. And when I mean dead right, I mean he was looking at the wall. There was absolutely no way. He did not see that wall coming. He was just able to hang on to it. But that could have been disaster for Lewis's race.
Was it the similarity to what Volcano's Prime did earlier on when he hit the wall?
Yes. It was exactly that, except one corner later, and Lewis turned away before he hit the wall. Otherwise, it was exactly that. It was Lewis could have just lost this race if he had not been able to save that. But he has no wing damage. His tire wear might be a little bit worse off than it was, but otherwise he's okay. Got a little bit loose that time as well, but not near as bad as he did the last time around. So Lewis got extremely lucky. That might have just saved his race. But now if I were Lewis, I would be thinking about when should I pit? Because obviously the tires are not giving me the life that I need out of them quite yet. So at this point, he could pit for hards and go the rest of the way. But do you think he's maybe trying to hold out for softs?
He will. He will hold out for softs up to lap 17. That's the prediction. Mediums on the race itself, you can go up to lap 17, probably even longer, depending on the gaps between from where he is now to where the others are. I would wait for the softs, because the hards, there's no point. I would try to avoid the hards unless you've had a massive accident, which what Volcano's Prime did earlier on. Then yes, I would pit for the hards, but for Lewis, I would wait for the softs. Rymax got a 3-second time penalty for multiple warnings now. So we've still got this battle for the 3 car between Moreno, Vienna and Sab. So let's try and see what Volcano's Prime has got. Another 3-second time penalty. So that, I believe, he's got 12 seconds. If he gets another 3-second time penalty, that means that's it. He will have a DSQ automatically, regardless wherever he finishes, and everyone else moves up. If you're not sure how the Performance League works, all drivers have all got each guaranteed points. Sab, come on! Oh, Sab! Oh no, they're going to stop beside it. Oh, Sab had the chance to make the move on Vienna. He had the chance to make the move here, Tim. Did you see that, Tim?
No, I didn't. I'm actually watching Scott Bugner and the Hellstone, who are battling side by side right now. The Hellstone tried to make a pass on the outside a couple corners ago, and he went too wide. He went too wide again this time, and then there's contact as he rejoins the racetrack. They're still side by side, wheel to wheel, beating and banging. Scott Bugner trying to hold on to score as many points as he can. The Hellstone just trying to get by him, and wow, this was just an intense battle. So both times the Hellstone had to go wide. He actually had to cut the corner and take a runoff area a couple corners ago, and then the last corner that he went wide in, it was just a little wide out of the corner, but no penalties for the Hellstone as far as I can tell. Scott Bugner so far holding his advantage in front of him. Scott Bugner 2 laps on those medium tires, 3 laps on the tires for the Hellstone, so Scott Bugner has a very, very, very slight advantage, but it might not be enough as the Hellstone dives down the inside of Scott Bugner. Then they're side by side once again. Scott Bugner in contact. There's contact. Scott Bugner tries to run the Hellstone wide. The Hellstone holding on though and gets in front, and then Scott Bugner hits him and he spins. And the Hellstone is spun. He is spun out into the runoff area in Sector 3. Scott Bugner pulls away. Wow.
Wow? Unbelievable. Wow. Could you say that again, please, Tim? Wow.
Absolutely wow.
Unbelievable stuff. I'll tell you what, that is just epic battle, but unfortunately for that spin there, I would have liked to have seen the whole lap around. And I'll tell you what, I'm going back to this battle between Moreno, Vienna and Sab. And also for Volcano's Prime, still battling out for 6th place. This race has just come alive as well.
Yeah, it really has come alive, and of course, for Lewis, Jamie, and Maddie, I don't think that they understand just how intense the battles behind them really are, because Lewis has a 15-second lead over Jamie, who has an 8-second lead over Maddie. So the top 3 drivers can't even see each other on the racetrack, so they don't know what's going on behind them. And Scope, for that matter, is even setting just kind of riding around there in fourth, trying to capitalize on his points day. So you get back to the midfield, and that's when all the chaos breaks out as Sab makes a move for Vienna for 7th place there. So Sab's still a man on a mission. Vienna just kind of dropping back.
He'll try and hold on for that DRS straight and try and push on massively. Matty is the first driver, a bit early to be fair, for the pits, for the mediums, probably about 2 laps earlier than I predicted. But let's see how Matty, I think Matty tried to do the undercut. I think he's going to try and do the undercut and try and get a good exit either way. But like I said, massive gaps now. He's going to have to try and do everything he can to push on. Just trying to look at the back of Sab's car. Vienna, Prime, Harry trying to join in the party. I tell you what, the one driver that we've mentioned briefly, but doing really well at the moment, is Jamie Ryan. He's doing a fantastic job in P2, and he could have an opportunity to get a podium as well at the Performance League. Just to recap, guys, if you have commented on the stream, I do apologise if I'm not seeing it, but obviously this race has been absolutely on the edge of our seats. We just didn't want to make any mistakes. Moreno has got a 3-second time penalty for multiple warnings. Charlie says, Mal, can you give a shout out to Abby Boyd? A shout out to Abby Boyd. Stuart says, shout out to Little Nick and Baby Ethan. Shout out to you too as well, Little Nick and Baby Ethan. But like I said, I hope you guys are enjoying the race, and please make sure you like and subscribe to the Invictus Racing League, the Performance League, on round 11 for the 123rd Performance League. And it's always a belter, Tim.
Yeah, it really is, and honestly, I think that this Russian Grand Prix has produced a better race than what either of us really anticipated, especially where we were talking about a lot of time penalties. We have not seen a whole lot of them today. We have seen a few, especially with Vulcanus Prime, who I think is, you said, 1 time penalty away from having a DSQ here today. So, there has been some time penalties here and there, but really not as many as maybe we would have expected to see. And definitely differing tire strategies. Currently, the winning strategy is the reverse strategy, starting on the mediums and switching to the softs, which it's laps 17 of 27, with Lewis leading by 16 seconds. I believe that he's probably going to pit, if not this lap, then the next lap, so that he can go on the soft tires as you predicted, Mal. And if he's able to do that, and if he's able to hang on, then he will be able to win this race. It's just a matter of he has to be mistake-free. He already made a mistake earlier that he got lucky to not end his race. He could have very well hit the wall, but didn't. So, that being said, Lewis has got to play it safe. He's got to play it cautious. He is diving down into the pits. He's decided that enough is enough. Now is the time to pit, and it's lap 17, going on lap 18 after he gets out of the pit lane. So that'll put him with 10 laps on those tires at the end of this race, which I think is right at that window. So Lewis doing a good job here to pit. Let's see if Jamie Ryan pits. Jamie Ryan will pit as well, so he's following Lewis in. Got to be careful, though, to not hit the wall as you enter the pit, and Jamie Ryan did a good job to not do so. What about Schofield running in third? What does he do? He's already pitted, so he shouldn't have to, but is he going to be able to make it out in front of Jamie Ryan or Lewis? Let's see what happens here. Lewis is coming out of the pits now. It's going to be so very close, but I think that Lewis is going to be able to hang on to it and stay in front of Schofielder. Yes, he does. You see Lewis up there as I'm riding on board with Schofielder. You see him just barely up there. He's just a little dot. Schofielder came out, though, ahead of Jamie Ryan, and it looks like Nitro Gash is moving into third. Sab in fourth. Moreno in fifth. So all these drivers who started on the softs and switched to the mediums, who can go the rest of the way on the tires that they're on, have improved their position, and they might be sitting pretty to get a good points day, while Lewis just barely squeaked out ahead of Schofielder. 3.7 seconds is the gap, but he will increase that because he is on a fresh set of soft tires.
Absolutely, and all Lewis has to do is try and get the biggest gap that he could get in case he does get any more penalties. Prime has got a 3-second time penalty. Jamie Ryan has got another 3-second time penalty, but whatever happens, I believe, correct me if I'm wrong, guys, Prime will have a DSQ after penalties. If you're not sure why, after 15 seconds of penalties, as long as it doesn't include the pit stop, the 5-second one. If it's 3 seconds, like the example below for multiple warnings for corner cutting, etc., you will lose out and you will get DSQ. You will not get any points. So we'll get that confirmed. But by the looks of things, it looks like Prime has had the DSQ, which is a shame because he's tried everything he can ever since he messed up at the last corner, as you said earlier on, Tim. But Nitrogash battling out with Scope for second place. You've got Sab trying to hold on for fourth against Moreno from fifth. You've got Jay Ryan make the move on Prime from ninth to eighth, and on the softs. I tell you what, I'm still on the edge of my seat, Tim. I just don't know what to expect back. We all know that Lewis is going to hold on for first, unless he makes a mammoth mistake, and that will be a mammoth mistake. But do you think Scope and Nitrogas will hold on for the second and third, or do you think there'll be a shock with Sab or Moreno joining the party soon?
I think that they're going to hold on for second and third. So Lewis, Scope, and Nitro Gash, I think, are going to be our top three. However, one thing that I want to mention that I'm actually confused as to how this happened is Scott Bugner is now behind the Hellstone. The Hellstone spun off of Scott Bugner's nose. And these drivers have not pitted yet. Somehow the Hellstone has been able to pass Scott Bugner and now has 0.8 of a second on that driver. So not sure how the Hellstone was able to get by him. But apparently he did, as we see Nitro Gas trying to go on the inside of Scopefielder now. And Scopefielder drops to third. Nitro Gas move him up into the second position. He is a man on a mission now, trying to catch Lewis, but that's an 8.5 second gap. I do not see him overcoming that. What I do see, though, is perhaps that Red Bull holding off Scopefielder.
Absolutely, and looks like I just saw, well, we just see Jamie Ryan moved up to from 8th to 7th place now, and he's going to try and challenge Vienna for 6th. And this is perfect opportunity for Jamie to try and make the move into 6th place. Here we go, coming up to the DRS straight. He needs to try and have a look at it from his camera angle view. He's going to try and go on the inside. Will have the extra DRS, and he does. He tries to hold on, and he keeps his car on tact and makes the move perfect. And brilliant stuff there from Jamie. And now he's going to try the on charge of Moreno and Saab for fourth and fifth place battle. Tim.
Yeah, and Scopefielder just trying to regroup and pass Nitro Gash at the time being, while that battle for 4th and 5th still going on with Moreno and Sab. A little bit further back, there's really not a lot of battles, but Harry is starting to gain on Vienna in that Williams, so we'll see what Harry can do now, riding on board with him. And Harry is one of those drivers who has had some decent runs this year, but it's very dynamic as far as where he's finished. But usually he hangs around the top 10, give or take, so Harry in that Alfa Romeo just trying to hang on and get to Vienna, but Vienna in that Williams is actually starting to pull away now. So Vienna looks like he's found some speed there, and he does have slightly fresher tires than Harry B, so that could very well be playing into his favor. Jamie Ryan, of course, up there in 6th place, who was running second a while ago on those soft tires, is now starting to catch Moreno 1.2 seconds behind the McLaren driver. So Jamie Ryan, he might still be able to get a top 5.
He might, I reckon he will make it into the top 5, because we're just going to have a quick glance on Moreno's car to try and hold on, because he's trying battling out with Sab for 4th place. Moreno. Here's Jamie. Jamie's going to try and make another move. And here we go. We've got to try and do everything he can. Jamie's trying to go around the outside with the DRS, and he does it perfectly. Perfect move from Jamie, and will keep on the inside. He was trying to defend on the inside last minute there, but still, he's done a brilliant job, Jamie, to move up to 5th, and he's going to be on the charge to Sab, which we're still going to watch, because I want to see if Jamie can try and make the move. Probably I don't know whether, do you reckon he'll try and make the move just before the DRS, or do or after?
I think he's going to have to wait until the DRS, honestly. I think he's going to have to get a good exit out of the corner, entering the DRS zone, and then he's going to have to just punch it and try it. Oh my goodness, Sab spins! Sab spins and hits the wall! I don't even know what happened there. It's like he got loose and overcorrected and hit the wall, and now he's off the track, so I'm not sure if there's going to be a safety car or not. I wouldn't believe so, and he is still going, so no safety car this time, but Sab's chance at a podium, Sab's chance at a good day even, is now officially done for after he spun on his own and hit the wall.
Oh no, Sab was on a good race, and we're on the virtual safety car because of Roy Boy having the DNF. and he had the DNF just before the end of the first sector. He went wide and hit the wall on the right side. Sab, gutted for him, really gutted for him, because I wanted him to do well in this race, and obviously he's going to have to go back into the pits, and we'll have to go on for the softs either way. But Jamie can try and close the gap onto Scope if he can. If he can try and challenge Scope for third place, that'll be one of his bestest ever races he has done. Just try and have a look at the standings. Obviously, his last 5 races, 2 of them have been in finishing positions in 11th and 10th respectively. So this, either way, if he still keeps on, he will be on for his best ever finish in the Performance League tonight. Tim?
Yeah, and the virtual safety car really helped Lewis, Nitro Gash, and Scope Filter out, and really Jamie Ryan, it helped a lot of drivers out. And it's not like it did a tremendous thing for him. It's just that, we were able to go slow for about half a lap, so that's going to really help their tires kind of cool down, and they're not going to have to wear down quite as quickly, because where Lewis is fine, he pitted on lap 17, so he's only going to have 10 laps on his tires when we get to the end. Nitro Gash and Scope Filter, they're going to have about 17, I think, maybe 18 laps or so on their tires, close to it anyway. So Nitro Gash and Scope Filter, their tires are probably going to be reaching the end of their life by the time we get to the end of this race, so that's really helped them out as well to at least ensure that they can go the rest of the way as has Lewis, because, really only about 10 or 11 laps is what we're going to get out of the soft tires here anyway. So with lap 23 of 27 remaining, Lewis looks like he has it in the bag, so long as he can just hold on and not make any more mistakes. And with 15 seconds ahead now of Nitro Gash, Lewis can really just ride around at this point.
Yeah, he could just stroll, he could just keep it on lead as much as possible. But Lewis has got a 3-second time penalty. I believe that's his second. I think that's his second penalty. Correct me if I'm wrong, Tim. So let's see how Scope's trying to hold on, try and close the gap onto Nitro Gash. But the battle I'm seeing at the moment again is Harry and Vienna. So Vienna, who won in the last, in the 3 races that we have done, he has won 2 races out of it and won last week after penalty. But with Harry closing the gap, I would wait, as you said earlier on, I would rather wait till we have the DRS straight, and see if Harry can try and make the overtake galore on Vienna. Tim?
So looking at the race director here and looking at the incident report, it does look like Lewis actually has 3 time penalties.
3.
He just recently got one. Yes, he has 3 time penalties. So what is that, 9 seconds?
Correct, yes. That's 9 seconds for the penalties. If he gets another 2, that will be a DSQ. The same with, I believe, Prime has already got anyway. So wherever position Prime finishes, everyone else moves up where he is as well. So just watching Harry try and close in on Vienna for 6th place, try and get the DRS on that medium tyre. He should have it. Just watching it from Harry's car, it's a little bit behind still, so the DRS should be active. He's going to try and get that slipstream. Vienna's trying to hold on the racing line. Harry's made the move on the inside. Oh, brilliant move there from Harry. Fantastic stuff, just at the nick of time. Perfect moment of driving from Harry. Who are you watching so far, Tim?
Still watching and monitoring the gap from Lewis to Nitro Gash, but also simultaneously watching Scope Filter and Nitro Gash as well. Scope Filter, of course, 0.7 of a second behind Nitro Gash at the time being, and he's trying to squeak his way into a 2nd place spot. But Nitro Gash so far is running very well, and he's one of those drivers who I had picked for the podium is Scope Filter and Lewis. Nitro Gash, of course, was an honorable mention. So while I'm not maybe going to get my top 3 picks exactly accurate, Nitro Gash I knew was quick, and I knew that he could battle up here and get a podium. He has done it quite a few times in the Performance League before. And as we were saying, Nitro Gash, this is his 110th Performance League race. So next week in Vietnam, he will tie the all-time record set by Sir Spud with 111 races, as long as he is able to start the race next week. So Nitro Gash in his 110th race and a potential record breaker in the future. So far running second, having a good race, and battling one of the quick drivers in this league, that being Scopefilter in third, who is really just trying to become the winningest driver in the Performance League with, I do believe, 5-ish wins.
So Scopefilter, it would be, well, like I said, Scopefilter's 157th race tonight. He's now up to fourth in all-time starts lists. A podium for Scopefilter will be his 75th. A podium would be his 75th. Regarding titles, obviously he's won the PC, as I keep saying, but he did, obviously, on his day, he can be one of those drivers that never gives up. He never ever gives up, and fair play to Scope as well. So, Jamie's dropped down. No, Jamie Moreno having a proper battle between 4th and 5th. Look like, I don't know if there was any contact there, but it looks like Moreno just got ahead of Jamie just before the DRS straight. So Jamie trying to do everything he can to try and challenge for to on the charge for top 4 finish, which would be his best finish ever. Moreno, who was one of those drivers, Tim, who was doing well this season, and obviously in the driver standings he was in like a good position, but he's dropped himself down to 4th place. Where obviously he had a great form, and then he couldn't make it into Hungary, which has brought Cliffy to bring the gap massively big now. So, do you think Moreno will bounce back and try and get into the top 3 of the driver standings?
That's honestly a good question there, Malc. I'm just not sure if it's going to be able to happen with just one race remaining. Moreno's going to have a really good race today, which so far running in 4th is not bad, but he's also going to have to keep that pace and have a good race next week as well. So it's going to be a big ask, but it's also very possible for Moreno. And Lewis, of course, just now entering the 3rd sector, about to start the final lap here in just a moment, as Nitro Gash and Scopefilter are still battling it out for that 2nd place position. Lewis having 2 more corners to go before the white flag lap is in the air, and he has done a magnificent job today. Absolutely.
He's done a magnificent job, but then again, I don't want to say any more because of the commentator's curse, as always. Volcano's Prime has got another 3-second time penalty. We've got this battle for the finale lap. We also got the battle between Harry, Matty and Vienna. So that three-way car battle, which we would love to see in a moment or two, but still, we want to try and watch if Nitrogas can try and hold on. Either way, Lewis is already at the end of the 1st sector, and he's going to the 2nd one now. And Scope trying to make the move on the inside. I tell you what, Tim, Scope, he's got to have to try and make the move now, because I tell you what, if he finishes now in his 2nd podium tonight, he will be 8 points behind Cliffy for the finale race. If it stands like this, if he gets 2nd, it will be 6 points close. So this is points that are crucial for Scope. Either way, Tim.
Yeah, and Scopefilter is a driver who we've actually neglected to mention in this championship battle, but you're right, Malc. So the championship is on the line, not just for Scott Bugner and Cliffy, but Scopefilter as well. Right now, we do have Lewis with just 2 more corners to go, as Scopefilter is trying to get by Nitro Gash.
Absolutely, but can I just say, Lewis is...
Lewis is spun! No! Lewis spun in the last corner, but he's still going to pull away and win just barely. Oh my goodness, you could not have scripted that. Lewis spins in the final corner and still hangs on.
I tell you what, Lewis is a very, very lucky boy, because it could have been a lot worse if it was close. But I think he knew about that. Look at that. 12 or 23? 11 seconds. So Lewis had, by the looks of things, he had 4 lots of penalties, unless I'm mistaken there, Tim. So Nigel Gash will finish in second. Well done to him. Scub finishes in third, but Lewis, congratulations to him, he finishes in there. Harry moves up to fourth. Matty moves up to fifth. Moreno in sixth. Jamie in seventh. Vienna in eighth. Hailstone and Volcano's Prime in 9th and 10th. But Scott will get 10th place regardless. So Scott will get 11 points. So Scott will have 159 points in the driver's standings as of after tonight, depending on points scenarios. Stephen finishes in 11th with 24 laps of the hard, so fair play to him. Volcano's Prime in 12th, Sab in 13th, Cryptox in 14th, and Rymac in 15th place. What a race. What a finale ending of that race. But Lewis is trying to do that to scare us off, I think. Do you agree with that, Tim? 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 Oh, sorry. We just had some technical difficulties. I thought he was still there, but I think we just got a bit of technical difficulties. But either way, congratulations to Lewis, and well done to Nigel Gash and Schofielder. We'll have to try and get them in a moment or two. So we'll just try and get the standings in a moment or two. So yeah, Lewis had 9 seconds with the penalties. Moreno had 12. He was very lucky. So here are your race classification for the Russian Grand Prix. For the Invictus Racing League, the Performance League, you got Lewis in first, Nigel Gash in second, Schofielder in third, Harry in fourth, Matty in fifth, Moreno in sixth, Jamie in seventh, Vienna 8th, Hailstone 9th, Scott in 10th, O'Stephen 11th, Volcano's Prime 12th, Sab 13th, Rymac 14th, Cryptox 15th, Roy Boy 16th. Obviously, Roy Boy had the DNF, but the SQ of Volcano's Prime will be off there. So Sab will move up to 12th, Rymac moved to 13th, and so on as well. So we will try and get the drivers in. But tell us about your best part of the race, guys. What do you think was your best opportunity to see? Obviously, we'll have to mention that to Lewis to say why he did that, but he would have been a lot worse. It could have been a lot worse. But we'll try and get the drivers in and hear their thoughts. So if you bear with us a sec, guys, we will get them in and talk about the interviews of their thoughts of the top 3. So we're just going to invite Lewis, Nigel Gash, and Scope to join party. Yeah, you're right, Maggot. How you doing, mate? You're right. You are right there. That was nearly a disaster, and you are right in saying that, because it could have been a DNF, and that could have been Nigel Gash winning that race. It could have been from that point, but we'll have to mention that to Lewis to see what actually happened. He must have celebrated way too early, and then all of a sudden, bang, and that would have been a betting slip, like ripped up, a favourite to be ripped up, all because of that last lap or last corner. So here we go. We're just getting the drivers in. So, guys, before you say anything, please make sure your allow voice to be shared is set to always allow. If you're not sure how to do it, go to the party settings, and there's an option called allow voice to be shared. Make sure it's set to always allow. So while the guys are all set and ready to go, I'll be talking to Lewis on his good racing from him, and also a bit of a scary moment on the last corner. But also well done to Nitrogash and Scope for their big battle for second and third respectively. So guys, are you all set, ready to go?
Yep.
Yeah.
Cool. So I'll be talking to Lewis first, then Nitrogash, and then Scope Fielder. How you doing, Lewis? You all right?
Yeah, I'm good.
Tell us about your thoughts of that race from your point of view. You had great pace from the start, didn't you?
Yeah, I had a decent get off the line on the mediums, only lost one position, so kind of held it from there. Really on the first stint, just managing my pace behind the racing point.
Yeah, I mean, you had to try and get that gap against Jamie Ryan, who was second at the time, but also trying to get ahead of the drivers, which was, I believe, Nitrogash and Scope for second and third, as well as the battle there. But it didn't look like there was anyone challenging you for first at all tonight, was there?
The racing point was quite quick, but he made a mistake on lap 8 and hit the wall. That kind of put him out of contention for any challenge. And then from there on, I didn't really worry about anyone.
Fair enough. But from your point of view, I will mention this on the stream, but we did call on it that I don't know whether you were celebrating too early, but your car was completely off track. What actually happened from your point of view?
I put too much power down and just lost the car. I thought my race was actually over, to be honest.
Yeah,
I found it quite funny.
Well, it wouldn't be funny if you won that and then you lost it completely after the last corner of the race. It would have been catastrophic from your point of view as well. So, but either way, Lewis, well done for your win tonight. Very, very lucky because of that spin that you had. But either way, you did a brilliant job finishing first in the Russian Grand Prix. You can stay if you want, or you can shoot off. It's up to you. But thank you very much for joining tonight, Lewis. Well done. Congratulations. Nitrogash, how you doing, mate? You all right?
Yes, I'm alright, mate. How are you?
Not too bad. From your point of view, you had a great battle with Scope, which I'll mention a similarity to hear his thoughts, but you had to get ahead, and it looked like you just managed to do it at the last point of, the last bit of the stint. Do you agree?
Yeah, I mean, I was catching him, and I thought I'd drop him when I went past him. I don't know. I mean, I caught him quite quickly, but I don't know whether he was saving stuff up. But yeah, it was a good sweaty few last laps.
Absolutely, and it's just nervous times from your point of view. But fair play to you, Nitro. You did well, but was you worried that Scope was going to try and challenge you like he nearly did on the last lap?
Yeah, I knew there was something coming on the last lap. I knew he'd probably be saving stuff up, because you can just sit in the DRS and keep up, do you know what I mean, and then save your battery up. I was having to use mine pretty much all the time, so I knew it was coming, but I think I don't know if he got a bad exit out the last corner on the last lap before the straight, and I just don't think he had enough room to make it. So. But yeah, it was a good battle. I mean, I had an awful start. I got loads of wheel spin, and then I was just 2 or 3 people went past me, so I just sort of sat back for a bit, and I knew I had good pace on mediums after last night, so yeah, it was a good race. Fun.
Fair dues, but surely you would have been a little bit sweated out after from Scope's point of view. But was the second place, obviously Lewis was completely gone, but
he's gone, yeah.
But did you feel like second was your best chance as you did tonight?
I mean, I would have been happy with third, to keep hold of third, because I mean, when I did a 1:30.17, I thought that was all I had in qualifying, and then I managed to, I don't know where I pulled that other half a second from, but yeah, I mean, if I could have stayed in third, I'd have been happy, so I'm delighted with second, yeah. Fair
dues, cool. Nitro. Well done for that. You did well. Keep it up.
Cheers, mate.
You can stay if you want, or you can shoot off. It's up to you. But thank you very much for joining tonight, Nitro. Well done for finishing second in the Russian Grand Prix.
Cheers,
Scope, how you doing, mate? You all right?
Yeah, I'm all right. Thanks.
No, nice one. Now, I know I heard it from Nitrogash's point of view, but from your point of view, where did you think you've missed out on second tonight?
It's hard to say because Nitrogas was a lot quicker than me today. I think he was easily half a second per lap faster. My saving was that I could stick within his DRS, so as long as I were there, I could keep up with him. And then I tried to make a move on the last lap, but it was just maybe needed 10 for more going into the straight, so it didn't work out in the end. But yeah, he was far quicker. So if I wouldn't have DRS, he would have been 5 to 10 seconds gone. So.
Yeah, absolutely. But from your point of view, as I said earlier on, you tried to make the move into the last lap. Did you feel like that was the last chance saloon for that DRS to try and make the move into second? From your point of view.
Well, I think my only opportunity to get past him would be on the last lap, because if I passed him, say a lap before, he would have got the DRS on the long straight the next lap, and then he would have easily got through me because he was a lot faster in the last sector. So my only opportunity was doing what I did. Didn't work out, but got pretty close.
Absolutely. But you're on a record-breaking season on here because just a couple of things. This is your second podium this season, but this is your 75th podiums of all leagues that you have participated. That is incredible stuff from your side, Scope. Obviously, you would have had what else was there? This is your 157th race tonight in Invictus Racing League, and you were up to your 4th in the all-time list. That surely you could try and break more records than ever before, Scope.
Well, of course I want to beat records, but I'm just happy to race here. I think it's a great league, and obviously there's opportunities to drive in more than one league at the same time. So I really enjoy it here, and if I beat some more records, then I'll just be happy.
Fair to Scope, and I wish you'd keep up the good work as always. You do a brilliant job as always. Scope, congratulations for getting third. I know it's a little bit of commiserations for not missing out on second, but I will mention about the points quickly. You are 8 points after tonight's race closer to Cliffy, so we could have a title decider. Could this be? Obviously, you was a driver championship runner-up last season. Do you think you've got the chance to win the Performance League, or do you think that's too much of an ask now?
I haven't even thought about the driver's title. I've just been focused on the constructor's title, and I think we're in a good spot there. But obviously, since Cliffy he had a huge lead 2 races ago, and then he has two DNS, so yeah, I'm gaining some points there, and I think I'm in a really good car. So yeah, I think there's an opportunity on the last race, but I think I gotta finish top 3 to have a chance there.
Absolutely. But yeah, let's see how it goes at Vietnam track for next week. So, but yeah, well done for tonight, Scope. I wish you all the very best of luck for next race. Same to Nitrogash and to Lewis for their thank you to those guys for joining us in the podium. Balok said, cheers for that. We'll just go shoot off. I don't know if Tim's back. Is Tim back? I don't think he's back.
I am.
Oh, you are? Okay, sorry. We did have some technical difficulties earlier on. I thought you were still there, but you had to shoot off. But you are back. So, final recap of the race. 3 words. What's your 3 words of the race tonight?
Oh my goodness. That is really all I have to say. I mean, Lewis spinning there right at the end, hitting the wall, and got so very lucky that his wheel didn't come off so he could finish the race, and then ultimately won the race. And, then just a lot of contact in the mid-pack and a lot of battles for position, a lot of jostling around. It was just, honestly, a crazy race. And it was amazing to see here at Russia. And it was fun, and I wish every race was like that, honestly. You wish? Well, we have a genie to do it and click with 3 wishes to say yes, yes, and hell yes to try and get some the bestest ever races ever. And I tell you what, it's actually
has not disappointed us tonight, and I do agree with you on that one, Tim. Let's hope Vietnam is the way forward. So, just to give you a bit of a recap of the table standings, obviously we're going to do a little bit quickly. Obviously, after penalties, obviously Cliffy's still in the lead with 168. Scott, I believe, finished in 10th, I think it was. So he would have 11 points. So he would have 159. So he's 9 points behind Cliffy. Scope has got 20 points. So he would have 160. Moreno, I can't remember where he finished, but he would get closer to the top 3 guys as well. So that is going to be that's going to be a title decider for the drivers, as well as the constructors could be sealed next week. What do you think about that, Tim?
I think it's going to be interesting, and really I like that the championship battles are coming down to the final race. It makes it that much more exciting to know what is on the line. So we're not talking about any champion being clinched at the moment. And that's what I like, is that it's coming down to the final race. It's coming down to the wire. So that gave these drivers every single opportunity throughout the season to gain the points that they need to put themselves in the right position to win. And if I'm not mistaken, Malc, as you pointed out during the race, we have 3 drivers who could win next week.
Absolutely. But again, that's just quick math, sorting out what's going to happen. But obviously, there could be penalties, there could be stewarding scenarios, we'll never know. But that's just the quick math that I've seen as well. So it could be 4 with Moreno, depending on what happens. So thank you very much, guys. Thank you very much for watching the stream. For the final time, please make sure you like, subscribe to the Invictus Racing League on the YouTube channel, but also make sure you like, follow and subscribe on our Facebook, Twitter and Instagram, as well as the Twitch channel for the Xbox League. And also check out our other leagues on the PS4 side, the Xbox, and also on the PC. Make sure you tune in on that, guys. And next week will be the finale at the Vietnam. Who will be the champion? Obviously, we're going to have a brand new champion, because obviously Samu did not carry on after a few races. But we will have a new champion this season. Who is it going to be? We'll have to find out. We're on the edge of a seat. Me and Tim are on the edge of a seat, and it's been an absolute blast, whatever happens. So, I'll see you all next week. Take care of yourselves. Bye-bye.